going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, and this is Flix. We're doing another trailer reaction, breakdown, preview, open-ended thoughts, whatever. Typically when I come up to talk to you guys, 9 times out of 10 it's because there's a movie that I really look forward to. There's a movie that really looks like it could be interesting. There's a movie that piqued my interest. There's a movie that's in the next series of a series that I like Saw and Scream, and not necessarily Halloween anymore because Halloween's done until the next guy tries to do something with it, but something that I'm really super invested in, something I can really sink my teeth into, something I can really try my best to have an intelligent conversation with, and occasionally we have people like Kristen and GUAPO talk about movies that we've actually seen. But there's another side to that coin. There's the absolutely what the fuck is this / holy fuck, I don't even care if this is good, I'm just glad that it exists. That genre, for me, on this channel, kind of started at the tail end of COVID with the movie Sick. Now, the movie Sick isn't particularly good, I'll be honest. I like it, but it's not particularly that good. What I liked was the balls of it, because it was a B-rate slasher movie at best. If you're generous, you would call it a B slasher. But it was set in the time of COVID, and I loved the balls of it because it said a bunch of stuff that those of us that were sick of the COVID situation wanted to say, and we could see it on screen, and we could have our opinion represented, even though it was in this shitty B slasher movie. So, very, very much, I'm just glad that this exists. I don't even care if it's good. The second one was Cocaine Bear. And let's be real, Cocaine Bear is super simple. Cocaine Bear does what it says on the tin and just gives you a bear on cocaine. It's not that hard a concept. The bear goes and fucks some shit up. It's super gory. It's funny as hell. Not particularly good, but it scratches the itch of a very particular type of sense of humor. And there is a little bit of a happy ending at the ending. We take care of the bears, and the drug dealers get fucked with, and some lady that'd been bitchy the whole time got her face ground on the pavement. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I love the idea of Cocaine Bear. And I usually don't like this. I don't like the idea of thinking about the writer's room while I'm watching a movie, like the feminist selfie at the end of Endgame, for example. It makes me grind my gears a little bit. But I liked picturing the backstage scene as you would if you're a fellow wrestling fan. We talk about what happens behind the curtain all the time. But I just like picturing the idea that some guy goes into a pitch meeting. If you've ever seen Ryan George movie, the Ryan George pitch meeting YouTube videos, you really should. They're a lot of fun, and the guy puts a lot of work into them. But I picture a pitch meeting where somebody says, okay, here's the idea. We're going to give a bear cocaine. And the guy that gets to make that decision, put the thumbs up and the thumbs down, says, yes, let's do that. I love that conversation had to happen. The conversation of let's do a whole movie about a bear that did cocaine happened and ended with a yes. That's all I need. I love that the movie exists. I don't even care that it's, strictly speaking, kind of like Sick. It's probably not that good. I love it, again, for the balls of it. And now we've made the trifecta. We have come around. What comes around is all around. I think I've found the trilogy of this mentality with this movie that I'm going to talk to you about today, and I'm going to try and remember to put it down in the comment section below or in the video description below. I know I say I'm always going to do that, and then I never do, because let me tell you something. My little description box is a cut and paste thing. I don't put a lot of work into it. You can probably tell. But if I forget to put the trailer in there, it's by Studio Canal, C-A-N-A-L. I've never heard of Studio Canal before, I'm not going to lie. And the movie is called Cold Storage. Now, if you're going to watch the trailer, go watch the trailer and come back. If you're not going to watch the trailer, you just want me to tell you what happens in the trailer, I'm going to do the best I can and see what has piqued my mind and why I think this is going to end up on that shelf of, I don't even really care if it's that good. I'm glad that it exists, and I'm probably going to see it in the theater. I wish I'd been able to see Sick in the theater, but we couldn't go to the theater at that point, could we? So, this trailer opens up with the famous movie cliche of young kid at job, doesn't really do his job, feet up, headphones in, listening to the song. What the hell is the song called? I wrote it down too. Daniel Powter's Bad Day. and it features in the rest of the trailer as the overarching thing. The happy song over really, really horrible shit happening, the cognitive dissonance of all of that is not uncommon, but you can almost do it to the point of sarcasm, and I think they've done it quite well here. But the kid in the earphones who's got his feet up, who's I guess supposed to be like presented as some kind of security guard or whatever for some random unknown building. He's got, like I say, feet up, headphones in, listening to the Bad Day song and whatever, and it's Joe Keery. And most people, especially this week or this couple of weeks because the final season is dropping, most people will know Joe Keery as the Steve Harrington character from Stranger Things. And he seems very much like he's playing Steve Harrington just in a different movie. He's not a bad guy, probably lazy, probably a little bit sarcastic, probably a little bit of a dick, maybe not the brightest bulb in the box, etc. But he hears something, he takes the headphones out, his coworker comes in, and she's doing annoying, judgmental female co-character stuff of, did you really hear something, or do you think you heard something? Oh my god, you talk too much. Okay, gonna love that character. For sure. They have a whole little discourse about whether he heard something or whether he had an argument with himself in his head about whether he heard something. They go and explore the lower levels of their job, and it's not very clear where they are, per se. They look like they're looking around a basement, and obviously nobody puts the lights on. They got flashlights, and they find back spaces and back rooms and locked doors with big wheels, so you think it's some kind of storage facility, some kind of government facility, some kind of really, what's the cliche? It's some unnamed black site. Something like that, right? They're in the creepy storage basement. They're going through the hallways of like where he was a second ago. Really hits me home, and it shouldn't, because real life and work and movies should not all coexist. Most of you guys know I work in a warehouse, so he's walking by the racking and the forklifts and the shrink wrap and all these types of things that I deal with every day in my job. So it feels a little real. And then they open up this big hatch, and there's a long tunnel that they're looking down through, this little tiny window that looks like it never should have been opened. And there's another door at the other end, and they sort of say to each other, do you want to open it? And everybody says no. They pan out, and on the other side of this tiny little door is all this gross green fungus vine type stuff. Smash cut to black screen, and the first part of the pun, one bad day. Smash cut to Air Force One. Now, you guys know I'm not American. My American friends, you will forever have my sympathy, because Hollywood seems to know that the quickest shortcut go-to is, it's America, of course, fucked up shit happens in America. Cool, whatever. And then we smash cut to Air Force One. In the current climate, we know who would be in Air Force One in real life, so there's leanings to go there, but we cut to Air Force One, we cut to inside Air Force One, and it's somebody getting a message on their computer saying, we have a temperature breach from a decommissioned facility. They don't even name it. It's just this unknown place. It's like, once again, like in wrestling, we have a breach at one of the facilities in parts unknown. And then the voiceover is, well, some of us have seen this before. Pan to Liam fucking Neeson. Because of course it is. It's Liam fucking Neeson. Now, here's the thing. Because Liam Neeson can be a great heroic character, a great comedic character, and a great sinister character, I'm guessing that he's either the president or he's the shady guy that clears up all the problems for the president. And the fact that I don't know that based on this trailer alone, the fact that it is Liam Neeson who can do both, I don't want to know until I watch the movie. I'm pretty sure he's playing the president, but I'd rather the spin be that he's playing some super shady guy. Why is my phone beeping? Why is this a thing? And then we smack out to a black screen again, and it says, can be contagious. So the pun that runs over the course of this whole trailer is one bad day can be contagious. And then we hear the One Bad Day song from Daniel Powter, gets louder and louder and louder. We pan to sort of the first victim of what looks like goo, what looks like almost mold, and it's this girl hiding in a corner, and she does again, I love cliches. I love horrible cliches in movies like this that are meant to be fucked up. Pan to her, you hear her voice is very quiet, and you get the very cliche movie, I don't feel so well, before they pan out around the corner, and all you see is a bunch of exploding green goo that we're supposed to get the idea used to be her. Then that just rolls the trailer on into a big montage of both the two characters that we met at the beginning, Joe Keery's character and his judgmental friend, and the military, all fighting people that have been infected by this green stuff, animals that have been infected by this green stuff. They focus on a deer for a long time. This deer that like wanders into what looks like it might be a gas station or a dollar store or a supermarket or whatever. And, you know, you get the Joe Keery character gets to because he's sort of like the dumbass everyman type of character, he gets to be the voice of the audience. That's a fucking deer. And the deer starts like breaking out all of its joints. Again, I'm going to go back to the Stranger Things example. If you remember the season where Vecna first started taking his victims directly, and he would lift them up in the middle of the air, and like all their joints would kind of manipulate and contort and eventually snap of their own volition. It kind of looks like the deer is doing that, but it's still making its way around. There's a voiceover of Liam Neeson actually referring to this infection as a fungus, so there's a clear tie-in that I'm going to talk about in a second. The trailer then cuts to the same deer again, getting on an elevator randomly and just sort of like shaking off whatever like that spasm had been, and you know, if anybody knows about spasms, it's me. Anyways, moving swiftly on. And then we get that next thing that movies do. It makes me think of the Expendables every time. It's like, from the writers, from the people that brought you this, and this. So the big push at the end is from the screenwriters of Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible, and Spider-Man, and the producer of Zombieland. So Jurassic Park, epic. Mission Impossible, not entirely my thing, also epic. Spider-Man, a lot of fun. Zombieland taps into exactly the kind of comedy that I want to see from a movie like this. And then you see, sort of on the end note of the trailer, you see Liam Neeson talking to the two kids, because obviously the government and these two kids, main character kids, are going to meet up at some point. It's going to be kind of like, I imagine, Independence Day, where, you know, the military and the scientist and the guy in his RV and the guy that used to do crop dusting, like, they all come together to make like a ragtag team to save the world. That's very cool. That's very obvious to a certain degree. The way that Joe Keery and Liam Neeson bounce off each other in this movie is something that's got me really, really curious. But they're all going out to his car like it's any other day. They're just having a conversation. You know, you started off tonight as 2 minimum wage guards, and now you're, I think he says you're a green site team, and proceeds to pull a nuke out of the back of his station wagon. And the Joe Keery character says, you know, are you fucking crazy? He says, no, I'm just ambitious. And then it ends on Joe Keery saying, oh my god, that's not natural, as they get pursued by a bunch of infested rats. And smash cut to all the opening dates and who's all in it and the cast and all those types of things. The ones that stick out to me are Joe Keery and Liam Neeson, if that's not obvious by now. The rest of the cast don't take up much time in the trailer other than his other co-workers, so I'll talk more about them if I go out and see the movie and I come back and talk to you guys about it. But there's a lot going on here, and a lot with what's going on in entertainment in general right now, with what's popular right now. You can feel it pulling from a lot of things without feeling like it's copying anything. You know, it all starts off with a bunch of young people discovering what's going on, and oh my god, there's this terrible thing, we better tell somebody, how are we going to deal with this, and all that sort of thing. It's very, very Stranger Things. It's very, for those of you watching it, for those of you that aren't, you should, but for those of you out there that are watching It Welcome to Derry, and how It Welcome to Derry feels very much like Stranger Things in a lot of ways. For those of you out there that are watching The Last of Us, now I'm not a big gamer. I went into The Last of Us not knowing really what it was about, and then you find out, okay, it's about fungus, and it's like, okay, this just wants to be Walking Dead, but they got to Walking Dead via fungus. Fine, it very much pulls from that as well. Also, like I say, America, we got to get the president in there, we got to get the army in there, you know, you're going to get a bunch of nameless, faceless, disposable troops suited and booted and ready to blow up. Clearly, the president, or if he's the president's like, don't tell anybody about this guy, has a nuke in the back of his station wagon, because there's so much, and again I say, I don't live in America. I live in Canada. I see the stereotypes that get lobbed at my American friends and our American neighbors to the south, but it's dripping with American stereotype. Of course the president is there on the ground. Of course the first thing they do is send in the military. Of course they're herding animals. Of course they've got nukes in their trunk. That's going to be pushed over the line into parody almost immediately, which is absolutely fine. But I will say, again, coming off the back of, like I say, I go back to the movie Sick once again. It's got that, the fungus infection, all that type of thing, that leads you to the comparisons to, can't think of the name of it now, Last of Us, even though Weirdo Pascal is in it, and that's another story for another day. But it's going to be soon bought out by Netflix, and everybody's super happy about that, right? Everybody's super upset about that shit. It's just making me laugh. I go to Netflix to watch my wrestling. If there's more stuff there, then cool. But you can't shake the idea, and this is where, like, it's a comedy, but there's a little bit more going on than comedy. Symbolism is what it is. There's gonna be more movies about infection and contagion and containment and let's cover this up, or let's expose only this much, and how come only some people know. But all of that, whether it's directly related or indirectly related, is post-COVID paranoia. And they're using it in a way that doesn't beat it over the head. They did a literal movie called Lockdown, I think, right after COVID, and it was an actual, like, serious, like, everybody's lives are shit movie, and I'm like, that's way too soon. You're doing it with something like this, where you're getting possessed by, like, Vecna deer and stuff like that, and Joe Keery's gonna be saying, that's not fucking right. So let's bring it all together. As far as inspirational elements, you got Liam Neeson, you got Joe Keery. Joe Keery immediately brings Stranger Things to mind. There are other similarities as well. It's got a little bit of It, Welcome to Derry in there as well. You've got zombies, which makes me think of The Walking Dead, back when The Walking Dead was worth watching. You've got a little bit of fungus, so you got a little bit of The Last of Us in there. You've got government paranoia. You've got contagion paranoia. And it's all going to end with things making big neon green gooey messes and Liam Neeson probably dropping a nuke. What else could you possibly want? This is going on the list. I don't have anything intelligent to say about this other than that looks really fucked up and I really want to see it, and I'm glad it exists. It is the sequel to Cocaine Bear. Sick was the original. Sick, Cocaine Bear, and now Cold Storage. If you haven't watched the trailer by now, I haven't done it any justice at all. Go watch the trailer. I will try to put it down in the description or in the comment section below. But if you got more movies, especially fucked up movies, because you guys know I very much lean on a horror, thriller, sci-fi tangent on this channel when it comes to movies. If you got trailers, if you've got ideas for trailers, if you've got news about a potential movie that might be coming out that you think I might be able to come up here and give some thoughts about, go ahead and throw it down in the comment section below, or find me on X at Spaz Phoenix. But yeah, that's it. I did not think I was going to get 18 minutes out of, hey, I saw this fucked up movie trailer and I wanted to talk about it for a second. But this is kind of what Flix Fix has become, has it not? I have to go back to the movies and find a movie that I'm willing to talk about afterwards, because it's always more fun to talk about the potential. I'm rambling now. I've been Spaz. This has been Flix Fix. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. I stuttered, I swear. But for right now, I'm out of here. Subscribe, like, do all the things.